Welcome back to Vision Auto Garage. In today's episode I continue stripping down the Midget 1500 shell in preparation for media blasting. In yesterday's episode I didn't quite manage to achieve everything I wanted. There's still a few little bits left on the car to remove, so I'm going to get cracking. The rear axle dropped off easily this morning. The prop was just catching on the handbrake. The steering rack mounts are quick to remove, just 3 bolts aside. The handbrake mounts the same, just 3 bolts. The handbrake cable mount requires an 11/16 spanner to loosen the jam nut, before undoing the inner nut by hand and sliding the cable free. Like almost every other part of a Midget, the fuel filler neck is easy to remove. Using a flat blade screwdriver, I loosen the top and bottom clamps and wiggle the neck off the tank. From the outside, I pull the filler cap out of the neck, followed by the large grommet. Using a trolley jack to support the weight of the fuel tank, I remove all of its fixing nuts and lower it down, easing out the level sender wires as it goes. Well, the Midget's now stripped down to a bare shell and I've laid it on its wheel dollies to keep it portable. In the end, there wasn't quite such a rush to get it done. I've booked it in for blasting in 6 days' time, and that was the earliest they could do. In the meantime though, I'm going to keep working on the components and parts of the car that will need restoring. So I thought I'd take the opportunity in this shorter episode to answer a question that was posed by Matthew Cousins on the last episode. Matthew asked what the goal was for this car, and it's a very good question and it is something that keeps changing. Ultimately, this car was bought to be sold, and that's still the case. But the work I'm doing to the car is more of a resto mod than a full concours restoration. As I've mentioned before, I'm going to change the colour of the car. It's not going to stay this colour gas bottle orange, but instead I'm going to paint it a shade of silver. Something not quite as dark as the V6 project, but a shade that's going to bring out the shapes of the car. The rubber bumpers aren't going back on the car. The front and rear will be smoothed over and any unsightly holes filled in. On the rear of the car I'm going to go for a very much shaved look, with no reversing lights and moving the filler cap up to the rear quarter. I'm going to keep the Rally Special wheels because they'll really jump out with a silver paint job. And that's probably about all I'll change cosmetically. Mechanically, the car's going to be treated to front and rear telescopic dampers. I'm going to lower the car between 1.5 inches and 2 inches to compensate for the weight loss of the rubber bumpers. And I'm also going to upgrade the front brakes. On the rear of the car, I'm going to install a pan hard rod and some anti-tramp bars, as well as upgrading all the suspension bushes all round. Ultimately, I want this to be a nice 1500. The engine's going to remain stock, maybe slightly tuned, maybe a sports exhaust, but other than that, it's going to be a 1500. I just want it to turn heads when it goes down the road. Of course, with any car that's being built to be sold, I need to keep in mind the end buyer and not do anything too radical or take it too far from what the car is. If I was a sketch artist or had half the skills of some other YouTubers, I'd be able to draw you a lovely picture that's sitting inside my head. Unfortunately, you'll just have to wait to see. Thanks for watching.